Yo, what is going on, guys? It is AJ Bantz here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you are new around here. In today's video, we're going to be RGB modding our Midnight Black DualSense controller, and we're going to be doing that using eXtremeRate's DTF LED kit. I cannot wait to get this installed in our controller. We've had this controller for less than a week, but I already knew before I even bought it I'll be doing some RGB mods to it, so I can't wait to get them installed and see how they look. You guys take a good look at the controller because it is not going to look like that once we're done with it. Okay, so first things first, let's get to opening up the box and taking a look at what comes inside. Okay, so open up the box, straight away we can see a bunch of different cables which are going to be used to plug into the controller and set up the LED kit. If we just turn that around real quick, you can see all the little LED lights on this, which are going to be lighting up really nicely once you've got this set up. Okay, you always get a warranty when you buy eXtremeRate products, which is really good. And then in here we've got some screws. We've got this thing which is really helpful for taking the controller apart. We have got a screwdriver which I can't take out right now, I'll just leave in there, which is going to be helpful as well for taking the controller apart. And then we've got our new buttons, which I'll show you guys one up real close. They're just basically see-through buttons so that the LEDs can shine through really nicely. Okay, so let's put this aside, and now we're going to get to taking apart our DualSense controller, because of course we've got to do that first before we can set anything up. And if you guys already know how to take the controller apart, or you're just not interested in seeing that part of the process, you can skip to this timestamp right here, which is where we'll actually start setting up the LED kit. Okay, now taking the controller apart is actually a really easy thing to do. What we're going to start off by doing is using this tool provided to us by eXtremeRate. You're just going to push it into this part here and this part here, and you'll see it just pop right on out. So you just apply some pressure and that's just popped. There we go, just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side again. You use it from this way, you push it through that gap, put some pressure on it, and you'll hear it just pop right out. Okay, the camera lost focus there, but there you go, that is what it should look like. And then you're also going to want to do the same thing to this bit under here. So we're just going to apply some pressure underneath that part, it'll pop straight up. You can do the same on this side, again it'll pop straight up. And then you should be good to just kind of unclip the rest of your hands. Be very careful not to snap this because the plastic is quite thin. Just going to push up here and then just going to kind of wiggle it, and it should come off. Again, just be careful because you do not want to break this, otherwise you're going to have to buy a new one. Okay, so after a bunch of wiggling, we finally got that off. Now we can just set that aside. And the next thing you're going to want to do is take off the L1 and R1 triggers, and this is super simple. We're again going to use this tool, push that underneath there, put your finger on top of it so that it doesn't fly once you do this. Oh, and we just slip there. And then you're just going to put some pressure down and it will just pop straight up, and then you're going to do the same like that, and that just comes off. Put that aside, and we'll do the exact same on this side. Again, you just need to apply a little bit of pressure, so slot that underneath there, get your thumb on top of it so that it doesn't pop off and fly and you lose it, and then you're just pushing upwards and those pop straight off. So now this is going to expose a bunch of screws on the controller. As you can see, there's one there, one here, and one here. So we're just going to unscrew those parts and we'll be right back. Okay, so we've taken the screws out. Make sure you put those somewhere safe because you do not want to lose them. You're going to need those once you're putting the controller back together. But moving on to the next step, we're going to use this tool again, and it's very simple. You just want to line this up with a crease on the side of the controller, and then you're going to go ahead and just push down on it, and that will unclip that side. And then we're going to do the same on this side again, line it up with that crease there, push down, and just like that, you hear it's just clipped out. Then moving over to this side of the control, you'll see there is two clips, one here and one here. You just want to do like that. So we're just pushing those clips forward so that they unclip, and then the controller should come apart fairly easily. You are gonna have to wiggle it around a little bit, similar to how we got the panel off here. But once you've got those two clips done and you've unclipped the side parts, it's pretty much smooth sailing from there. You just need to go around the controller. You do want to be careful not to break anything, obviously, so just be careful when you're doing this, and eventually it will come apart, trust me. It can be a little bit of a nightmare sometimes. You might want to go like here, it hasn't fully unclipped, so we're just going to go back over here and put some pressure down there, lift that bit up a little bit. There we go, that side is off, and then we're going to do the same on this side, just like that. Okay, so we've got the back panel off successfully. So once you've got the back panel off, the first thing you're going to want to do is take out the battery, because you don't want it to be any power going through this thing when you are modifying it. And the easiest way to do that is literally just grab it like this and pull it upwards, and you see it has come out of this plastic little holder, and then the wires are connected in here. Now it is best, let me just get closer there so you can see that. If you've got tweezers or something like that, it's best to use tweezers to get this a little bit out. We're being a little bit lazy, so we're going to be very careful not to pull the wires out. We're going to grip it from just as low as we can, and we're going to kind of wiggle it out. If you pull those wires out, it is going to be a nightmare. You're going to have to, I don't know how you'd fix that. Maybe have to solder them back in, but as you can see, we've got it out successfully. But take my advice on this. I know that I've just done that. I would strongly advise you to use tweezers, just in case you do pull one of these wires out. It's going to be a nightmare for you. Okay, so now we've got the battery out. We're going to move on to actually taking this plastic panel off really easily. It's got one screw in there, which you just need to unscrew. Okay, we've got that out, but before you can actually pull the panel off, you can see this little mic thing is connected to it. So this comes out really easily. You literally just pull it straight out like that, and this will just pop straight off. I'm going to set that aside because we'll need that for later. And then what we're going to want to do is take out these flex cables. So there's three, one here, and one here. And literally to take these out, super simple. You just need to pull up and they pop straight out. Wiggle it around a little bit, pop straight out. This one can be a little bit more fiddly. Again, if you have tweezers, it might be a bit helpful. All right, here we go. We've got our tweezers, and we're just gonna go ahead and pull that out. There we go. We've got that one out. And then we're just gonna flip it like this, so that when we pull this up, this will just slide straight through. So before we do that though, there's some screws that we need to take out. We're going to take out this screw and this screw right here. Okay, once you've got those two screws out, it comes out really easily. You just want to push down on the analog sticks and that will pop up, and then you can just go ahead and flip that over like that, which is going to expose this side of it, which is where we need to take out some more screws. So we're going to be taking out this screw right here, and then this one here on this side. Okay, so once you have got those two screws out, we're going to go ahead and push this back in. So push the analog sticks forward, and that will slide back into the analog slot. Just clip that back down, and then we're going to want to undo this ribbon cable. So we'll use a tweezer again for this one because it's quite small and hard to grab with your fingers. I'm going to figure that one out. There we go. And then you can just pull this part of the controller off. We'll set that aside for later. And now we need to get to taking off the buttons, which is really easy. Just pull the rubber up like that, and then same on this one. And then you can just go ahead and turn it over and they'll drop out just like that. So those are all of our original Midnight Black controller buttons, which we'll put aside. Okay, so now we have the buttons out, we can start replacing them with the eXtremeRate buttons. And for the see-through one that I went through, it doesn't actually have the icons on them, so it doesn't matter which way they go in, you don't have to worry. Okay, we've got those all in, and then we're going to get our D-pad in. So that just goes in very simply like that. Next up, we will pull out our pause and create button, and then we will replace those with the new clear ones as well. Same thing for the PS button. Just put it back where it should go, just like that. And then you can start to put the rubbers back over them. So this one is for our buttons on this side, and we just want to push that in. I don't know if you can see, there's like a little hole there with a little bit of plastic that you push on top of it, and that will slot in nicely. And then you just want to do the same thing on the D-pad. Again, just push the rubber back over it, and again the same thing for the PS button. You just want to go ahead and push that over the little plastic things underneath it so that it stays on. Okay, so now that we've got all the buttons put in, we're going to put this one aside. We're going to move over to this section of the controller, which is where this comes into play. Okay, so we're going to get this, make sure it's facing this way, and what we're going to want to do is, let me just move out of the way actually. You're going to want to get this part here and push it through right there. So I'll show you guys what I mean by that. Just going to slide through that gap there like you guys just saw. I'm just going to turn the controller around, pop this part out again, like that. Again, just pushing down on the analogs, and then now you can see where this is coming through. So we just need to push that in a bit better. Okay, so we just push that through again. Okay, so we can see that it's come out from this side now, and now we can just grab it, and you can see these two little plastic bits. You just want to push the holes on this little thing straight through those two plastic bits, just like that. So that's how it should look once you're done, and then you can go ahead put this back on, make sure that your ribbon cables are through, and I can clip back in. Okay, so now we're back over at this side. What you just want to do now is just clip in the kit to the little fixtures that are already on the controller. So you can see there's a plastic one here, there's one here just underneath that, there's one here where this little split is, you can see through those little plastic bit. So you just want to go around the control and kind of clip those in so that the kit's not moving around too much when you're doing stuff, just like that. There you go. So the next thing you want to do is then pull off the analog sticks, and I'm just going to move it sideways so that I can hold down on this part, and then I'm going to just pull, and then that is just clipped straight off. And I think it is quite important that you hold down on this part so you don't pull it off of this or damage anything under here, which is why I like to move them sideways so I can apply a little bit of pressure down there and then just pull up and they pop straight off. Once you have got those analog sticks off, if you turn these around, you can see there's a little thing that you can peel, which is going to go right here so that you get LEDs shining through the analog sticks. Okay, so now we can stick these down, so you can just turn those around and you'll be able to see this. So all you got to do is peel that off like that, and then you're going to want to line it up so that the LED lights look like this. So there's one at the bottom, one at the top, and then two on either side, and we're just going to go ahead and stick that down. Whoops. Make sure you put some pressure behind this so they don't push it out like what I just did. Very simple. And then we're going to take this tool just to push this down inside, or you can use your finger actually, whichever works better for you. There we go. Make sure that's all stuck down nicely. Very good. Okay, and we're just going to do the exact same thing on this side. Again, we've just peeled that off already, and then we're going to make sure that you've got one light at the bottom, one light at the top, and then also one on either side. Push that down, and then you can use a tool or use your finger, like I said before. We'll use a mixture of both just to push that down there, and you are all good. Next thing you want to do is stick down these parts, so here and here. So I'll show you guys. If you just turn this over, you can see there's a little part there that you can peel. So we're just going to go ahead and peel that, and then stick that down just like that. So that's how it should look. And then again, the exact same thing on this side. We're just going to peel this back and then just push that down on there. Make sure it's stuck down nicely. And now the last thing you're going to want to stick down is this part here at the edge. So we're just going to go ahead and peel this off. Before we peel it off, I'll show you where it goes. It's going to go right here, so it will line up with this, just like that. That's how it should look. So let's go ahead and peel it off, and then yeah, so we're going to bring it here so that it's lined up with this, and then stick it down just like that. And that is how that should look. So we've got that stuck down successfully. And now this is what the controller should look like once you've got everything stuck, everything is lined up, and then we can move over to our next step, which is then putting the analogs on the control. Very simply, again, just make sure you're pushing down here so that it doesn't pop out. We're going to go ahead and just slide those on. There we go, that's one on, then the second one. And just push down on them, make sure they are on. Don't push down too hard because you don't want to break them, but just make sure that they slid all the way down so that they're on correctly. And there we go, those are the analog sticks on. Okay, so now that this part's done, we're going to bring this part back in I'm going to put the controller back on top of it, but just make sure that this blue ribbon cable here goes through. It's always worth having tweezers on site when you're doing stuff like this, I swear. So we can just use a tweezer to kind of finesse it in. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we can kind of push the controller back in, but just bear in mind we are still going to need to pull up this part. So hold the controller like this, push on the thumbsticks, and then just push up, and this part will pop out, because we do need to screw this back together before we put everything else back on. Okay, so that's screwed in now, and what you got to do is, this thing fell out earlier, I don't think I caught it on camera, but this is basically like the power button, I believe, for the controller, if I'm correct. Anyways, just lift this up. There's a little slot right here that it just drops into, so go ahead, drop that in. And you also want to make sure that the little cable here is back on this side and doesn't get stuck underneath. It's small and very fiddly. I think you'll find that a lot with the ribbon cables on the PS5 controller, but we've got that through. So now we can, and there you go, that's how I was talking about the cables. Now this one's stuck on that side, so I'm just going to get our tweezer and see if we can finesse that through without pulling it all back apart. There we go. Okay, all the cables are through, and now we can push that back in. Perfect. Okay, and we're nearly done. So next thing you want to do is just make sure all the ribbon cables are plugged in. So start off with this little fiddly one. We'll get it out of the way. Just push that down, grab this one, push that down, there we go. Same with this one here. We're gonna push that back in to its rightful place, right there. Oops, we've done it a little bit bent. There we go. And then we have our blue ribbon cable as well right here, which is a little bit more fiddly than the other ones, but should go in pretty easily. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's in. All right, very simple. And then what we're gonna want to do is get our plastic holder for the battery. I'm gonna place that back there, make sure that this ribbon cable is on top of it, and then we can just push it down. The ribbon cable, this one goes in really easy, very similar to how it comes out. Just line it up with this and just kind of press forward on it, and it will stay right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to screw this in. Okay, so we've got that screwed in, and now we're going to want to get our battery, put that back here. But this is where things have changed. Instead of plugging our battery into there, what we're going to do instead is plug our LED kit into here. It is a little bit tight, so be careful not to pull the wires out and break it. Again, we'll probably use our tweezers just to push this in. There we go, that is clipped in. Then this wire is going to connect to the actual battery. So we're going to get our battery wire, we're going to get this wire, and those are going to push together like that. Oh, and we can really see the LEDs turned on. I'm not going to turn the controller around just yet. We have to wait for the big reveal for that one. And then we can push this down here. And then just to hide these cables, we're going to go ahead and just tuck them away in this corner bit, so that they're not exposed everywhere. Okay, so then we can go ahead and put the screws in here and here. Okay, so we've got those two screws in. Now we're just going to go ahead and clip on the back casing. You might have to go back in there like what I'm having to do right now actually, and change the positioning of where you put this. We're going to push this wire around there, and we will push this bit there, and that should then allow the controller to clip together. So let's try that. No, that's not it, that's not it. Okay, so what we've done is we just move this instead and put it back here rather than pulling it forward. Oops, just put the battery out. We'll leave this back here and instead leave the wires to run around this side, and now the case should go on without any issues. Let's try it out and see if that works. Yeah, that works, perfect. So then we can just clip this all back together, and now we can go ahead and get the screws in from earlier. All right, so we've got our screws back on. Now we can put our triggers back in. The triggers do go on upside down. There we go. And same with this one. Just kind of line it up next to that and then push down. And now we're gonna have to turn the controller around to show you guys how to put this back on. So I guess here goes the big reveal. Look at that. That looks so sick. I'm really happy with this. I'll turn my camera light off in a second so you guys can see just how rich the colors actually are. But first, let's put the faceplate in. Now, best way to do this is push it downwards like this, because these little things need to go down inside the controller here. So push it forward like that so that those are in there. This part is like probably the most fiddly part. But yeah, there you go. You just kind of push forward so that those slide in, and then you just push down on this, make sure that it's all clipped in and back together. And there you go, the controller is completely rebuilt, put back together. And now we're going to cue some B-roll so you guys can appreciate just how nice these LED lights really look in the Midnight Black controller. Here we have our RGB PS5 Midnight Black controller. This thing looks incredible. So really quick, I want to show you guys how it works. Of course it's got an RGB kit in, which is already set up, but there's a way to actually control it. As you can see, it's currently set to the RGB fade mode, so it's fading in between different colors. But if you want to control it, you simply hold the up button and square at the same time for around 5 seconds until you see the controller start to blink. Once it starts to blink, that means it has gone into control mode where you can actually change the settings yourself. There you go. So now you can see it has started to blink. And then you just use the left button on the D-pad to scroll through the different settings. So this is a blinking mode. This is just red. Let me get it closer for you guys. Let that focus. Then we have our green, got a blue. We've got like a lime kind of green color here, which I actually really like. It looks really cool against the Midnight Black. We've got a purpley pink color. We've got, what color is this? Okay, so the other one was pink, sorry. This one's purple. Sorry, I'm using my camera right now to kind of tell what colors is what. And then we've got a really nice light, like neon blue color. And then we're back into the fading RGB color and the blinking RGB mode. But now we'll leave it on. I actually really like the sky blue color, the neon blue. So yeah, we'll leave it on that. And to set it to the color that you want to keep it on, again you hold square and then you hold the up button for roughly 5 seconds, maybe a little bit more. And sorry, the controller just died as we were doing that, but there you go, it is locked in on blue. Looks super nice. It is really bright and vibrant. Honestly, the camera does not do it justice. It looks so much brighter and so much nicer in person. You guys have just got to get yourselves one and try it out. And by the way, if you guys do want to pick up one of these kits, I'll have it linked down in the description. I'll really appreciate it. If you use my link, it doesn't cost you guys anything extra and it helps me out a lot to make videos like this. So there you go. That is the RGB DTF LED kit from eXtremeRate. eXtremeRate make amazing products. I can show you guys real quick. Not only do I have this one now in my PS5 controller, I also have one in my PS4 controller, and all these mods on my other PS5 controller are by eXtremeRate. The back paddles and the front casing for the control. This is all by eXtremeRate. They make some really cool products for controllers especially, so you guys definitely go and check them out as well. I'll have their Instagram linked in the description along with my one. And if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and turn on bell notifications. I'll upload videos just like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I don't wanna look back, I don't want it like that. I've been going too fast, all the girls like that, and the fake ones